All right, let's get into it. Today, we're going to tackle one of those super frustrating home plumbing problems, that weird blockage in your pipes that you know isn't a normal clog. Yep, we are talking about the dreaded airlock. Does this sound like you? You go to turn on a tap, and instead of a nice steady stream, it just sputters and spits at you. Or maybe you're hearing these weird gurgling sounds coming from inside the walls. And in the worst case scenario, you turn the handle and nothing, not a drop. If you're nodding your head right now, well, you are in exactly the right place. So, what is this invisible culprit? It's called an airlock, and it's pretty much what it sounds like. A stubborn bubble of air gets trapped somewhere in your pipes. And because water can't really push past it, it creates a blockage. It's not gunk, it's not scale, it's just air. But believe me, it's more than enough to stop your water flow dead in its tracks. Here's the best way to picture it. Imagine your pipes are a busy highway system, and the water molecules are all the cars, just trying to get where they're going. An airlock? That's a sudden 10-car pileup out of nowhere. It creates a total traffic jam, and even with all that pressure building up from behind, the water just can't get through. Okay, so before we start fixing anything, we need to play detective. We've got to be sure that we're actually dealing with an airlock and not something else. So let's run through the classic telltale signs. The number one giveaway for sure is that sputtering tap we talked about. But you also want to listen for those gurgling, bubbling sounds. Have you noticed a sudden drop in pressure, but maybe only at 1 or 2 taps? Or is your shower going from hot to cold all on its own? If you're checking off a few of these boxes, then yeah, an airlock is the most likely suspect. Now, these things don't just pop up for no reason. Airlocks are almost always caused by something specific, an event that allowed air to sneak into your pipes in the first place. And figuring out why it happened is going to be your best defense against it happening again. So think back. Did you have any plumbing work done recently? Maybe a new faucet installed? Or maybe the town had to shut your water off for a few hours. Those are really common triggers. Anytime the pipes are drained and then refilled, air can get trapped. Other times, the cause can be a bit more hidden, like just having low water pressure in your house, or even pipes that weren't installed at the right angle, creating the perfect little trap for an air bubble to hang out. All right, time to roll up our sleeves. Let's get to the fix. And the good news is, a lot of the time, you can absolutely clear an airlock yourself with a couple of pretty simple techniques. So let's walk through the most effective ones right now. Okay, first up is what I call the hose pipe technique. This one is super effective, especially for stubborn airlocks in hot water pipes. What you're doing here is basically using the good pressure from a working tab to blast that air bubble out of the blocked one. Now, the absolute key to this is getting a really tight seal on both ends of the hose. We want that water pressure going into the pipe, not spraying all over your kitchen. Let it run for a couple of minutes, and that force should be enough to shove the airlock out of the way. Now, if the hose pipe method just isn't going to work for you, don't worry. You can try bleeding the whole system. The logic here is pretty straightforward. By opening up every single tap, you're giving that trapped air an easy escape route. So, once you turn the water back on, and do it slowly, the water will push all that air up and out through the highest open taps. Just remember the final step, close them from the bottom floor up as soon as you see a nice steady stream. So, you've tried the hose, you've tried bleeding the system, and that one pesky tap is still sputtering at you. What gives? Well, it might be a sign that your problem is a little more stubborn, or maybe it's not just a simple airlock after all. Hey, knowing your DIY limits is a superpower. Seriously, sometimes the best tool in your toolbox is the phone. So let's talk about the signs that tell you it's time to call in a pro. Yuck, this all comes down to being safe and smart. If you've given these DIY fixes a fair shot and they haven't worked, it's time to stop. And you should definitely call a professional if the problem is in your central heating or boiler. Don't mess with that. Same goes if you see any signs of a leak or, and this is a big one, if this keeps happening over and over. A recurring airlock can be a symptom of a much bigger issue. Fantastic. So you fixed the problem. High five. But how do you stop this from happening all over again in a few months? Let's talk about prevention, because that's how you build a healthier plumbing system for the long haul. Honestly, prevention is mostly about good habits. Just turning your main water supply on and off slowly whenever you have to do maintenance can make a massive difference. If you know you have low water pressure, it's worth getting that checked out. And hey, if you're ever having new plumbing put in, make sure the installer knows what they're doing with the slope of the pipes. It's a tiny detail that makes it so much harder for air to get trapped. And that really brings us to the final thought here. An airlock, as annoying as it is just a symptom. Think of it like a message from your home's circulatory system. So yeah, fixing it is great, but the bigger question to ask yourself is, what else is my plumbing trying to tell me? Paying attention to these little clues can save you from some huge headaches down the road.